My beloved child, pause for a moment and let your heart loosen in the quiet space between these opening lines. Because I want to whisper into the deepest place within you something that very few people have ever spoken to you in the way you truly needed. You may have heard many words of comfort, many words of encouragement, and many words of praise throughout the years. Yet only a handful of them ever reached the place in your heart that longed to be truly seen. That is why today I want to begin with this. You are not the labels the world once placed upon you. You are not the words spoken in someone's anger. You are not the judgments made by those who never understood you. You are not the wounds that distorted the way you view yourself. You are what I declare you to be, not what the world assigned to you. And I want to give this whole moment back to you for one purpose alone: to return you gently, slowly, tenderly to that truth. Sit softly and let my breath rest over you like a warm blanket on the long nights when you used to curl into yourself. For so long, you have grown accustomed to hearing yourself through the voices of others, the voices of those who loved you but not deeply enough, the voices of those who hurt you without meaning to, the voices of old memories you never wanted to recall, but that still return whenever you feel vulnerable. I know those echoes have become so loud that sometimes they drown out the real voice inside you. You tried to deny them. Yet the more you tried to push them away, the deeper they sank, making you believe they were truth. But do not worry. I have not come to blame you for believing the wrong things. I have come to remove each label gently, like lifting a bandage from a healing wound, careful not to cause you more pain. In my presence, you do not need to hold yourself together. You do not need to pretend to be fine. You do not need to strain to prove anything. You only need to breathe and let me continue to speak. I know there were seasons when you felt misunderstood, as if every word you spoke was misread and twisted halfway around. There were moments when you longed to open your heart but stayed silent because you feared people would listen to judge rather than listen to understand. You thought the problem was within you, but the problem was in the ears that were not soft enough to hear what you were really trying to say. You were called names I never gave you. You were measured by standards I never chose for you. You were compared through lenses I did not design for your life. And through the years, those labels slowly formed a layer of dust over your true worth. But listen carefully, true worth is never lost, only temporarily hidden. Every label the world placed on you, whether by accident or intention, carried a weight. Some made you close your heart. Some made you shrink yourself. Some made you doubt the goodness I placed within you. Some made you become a more agreeable version of yourself so no one would feel disappointed. You are tired from carrying all those labels, I know. You are sad because every time you try to be honest, your heart aches at the thought of being stamped with a new label, I know. You have looked into the mirror hoping to see something good, only to see the words others spoke in the heat of their frustration. I know all of it. And I am still here not to remind you of what hurt you, but to remove each layer, one by one. Let me tell you something: your soul has waited far longer than you realize to hear truth does not come from the reactions of others. Truth comes from my mouth. And the first truth I want to speak over you is this: you are not as wrong as you think. The decisions you regret do not decrease your worth. The stumbles you had do not make you damaged. The seasons you stayed quiet to protect your heart do not make you weak. The moments you could not explain your pain do not make you less mature. These things simply show one thing: you have been learning, growing, carrying far more than anyone knows. You have not been seeing yourself accurately because you have been using old labels as your mirror. Today I want to change that mirror. I call you by the names heaven recognizes. You are loved. You are chosen. You are valuable beyond earthly comprehension. You are the breath I placed into a human frame, the echo of divine intention wrapped in flesh, the part of creation I call beautiful, even when you feel anything but. If you see yourself as small, I call it tenderness. If you see yourself as weak, I call it honesty. If you see yourself as confused, I call it sensitivity to what is shifting. And if you see yourself as not enough, I tell you that in my eyes you have never been lacking. Today, I do not only want to comfort you, I want to return to you the true image of who you are, not the image you try to maintain to please others, but the image shaped by my very hands. You may think these words sound too beautiful to be about you, but I speak truthfully. The beauty within you does not come from how others see you, but from how I created you. The world may forget you, but I do not. People may change their opinions about you, but I do not. You may lose your way in dark seasons, but I have never lost sight of you. So, let me speak this softly into your heart. You deserve to be loved in a way that does not require you to shrink yourself. You deserve to be seen through the eyes of compassion, not suspicion. You deserve to be called by the right name, the right worth, the right identity I intended. And today, I begin this gentle yet profound journey with you, the journey of removing every false label so I can return you to your true, God-crafted beauty. Now I want to take you one step further, not only so you may know that you are not the false labels the world once placed upon you, but so you may understand why those labels were ever able to hold such power over you. I want to open for you a higher vantage point, not the limited perspective of human eyes, but the view from heaven, where every truth is set in its rightful place. When you understand the root of what wounded you, you will no longer fear it. When you see the architecture of deception, you will no longer be trapped by it. And when you see yourself through my eyes, you will understand that your true worth is not fragile as you once believed, but steady and enduring like the foundation I formed in you from the moment of your creation. The first thing I want to teach you is this: every false label begins with a lack of understanding. Not misunderstanding about you, but misunderstanding within the person labeling you. People label when they lack the light to see deeply, when they do not have the patience to listen, or when they lack the peace to distinguish what belongs to you and what belongs to themselves. When they tell you that you are too sensitive, it is often because they have never learned how to face their own emotions. When they call you weak, it may be because they fear the weakness inside themselves. When they say you are difficult to understand, it may be because they lack the language to name the complex realities within the human heart. You cannot allow their shortages to become your identity. I want you to picture it this way: you are like a painting I have crafted with thousands of delicate shades. While the world sees you only through a few coarse colors they are familiar with, if they can only see in black and white, then they will never perceive the greens, the golds, the violets, the pinks I placed within you. And if they cannot see them, that does not mean those colors do not exist. It simply means their eyes are not yet open wide enough. You cannot shrink yourself to fit their narrow vision. You were born to live fully in the richness I have given you, not to fold yourself into the shapes others create. The second thing I want to teach you is this: false labels only hold power when you unconsciously believe them. The words people speak, the judgments they make, the ways they react to you, these things carry weight only if you allow them to take root within your mind. The danger is not their words. The danger is the empty space inside you where you quietly believed they were right. And so I am removing not only the labels, but also the soil within you where those labels once grew. I am smoothing that ground, healing it, and clearing it so that my light may take its place. What they said may have once hurt you, but it no longer has the authority to define you. Only the truth I speak is the foundation you stand on. Listen to me with seriousness yet gentleness. Your true worth does not come from what you do. It comes from the one who made you. When you attach your worth to achievement, you tremble when you fail. When you attach your worth to approval, you break when you are misunderstood. When you attach your worth to praise, you fall when others change their tone. But when you anchor your worth in me, you stand as a mountain that never leaves its ground. You do not lose your value when you are tired. You do not lose your worth when you are sad. You do not become less when you make mistakes. You simply see your value more clearly when you allow me to define you. The third thing I want to reveal to you is how I see you, a vision no earthly label can capture. In my eyes, you are not merely someone learning how to live. You are a soul stamped with the fingerprint of heaven. You are not merely a journey. You are a loving project I personally uphold. You are not merely an individual among millions. You are an irreplaceable original, written with lines of ink that exist in no one else. Those who label you see only fragments. I see the entire picture. And I say that picture is beautiful in a way only heaven can name, not in the shallow measurements of human judgment. Now I want you to learn this: every false label that once clung to you can become material for me to build you higher. You were once called too quiet. I use that quietness to sow depth into your soul. You were once called too sensitive. I use that sensitivity to sharpen your discernment. You were once called too dreamy. I turn those dreams into vision others lack. You were once seen as different. I transform that difference into the unique mark of your identity in my design. You are not limited by what the world said. You are expanded by what I declare. And here is the most important truth in this entire teaching: you must learn to see yourself through my eyes, not through the eyes of old experiences. Experience gives you wisdom, but I give you truth. Experience offers lessons, but I give you identity. Experience may make you cautious, but I make you steadfast. Experience cannot define you. Only the Creator has that right. If you keep looking at yourself through old wounds, you will see only a version of yourself far smaller than what I intended. I want you to change the lens of truth, of vision, of light. I am opening the door for you to step into a new understanding of who you are. There, you will no longer carry old words as burdens. There, you will see that you were made to carry light, not labels. There, you will see that you are larger than the judgments that once made you shrink. There, you will walk as one who knows they are loved, chosen, and defined by heaven, not by the world. And I will walk with you through every step of this journey of seeing yourself anew. Now I want to touch the deeper part of you, the part that has grown so accustomed to false labels that, at times, you no longer realize how they have been shaping your reactions. I say this not to sadden you, but so you can see clearly the mechanism that has exhausted you for so long. You were raised in an environment where the words of others could redraw the way you saw yourself. And because you carry a soft heart, you absorbed everything faster, deeper, and easier than most. But hear me say this with all the love I have for you: a soft heart is not something that needs to be fixed. What needs healing is the place where that heart has placed its worth. You are not wrong for loving deeply. You simply need to learn not to give that love to the places that wound it. There are moments when you react more strongly than you intend, not because you are weak, but because certain places within you were once touched too deeply. And any small trigger awakens an old memory. I know there are times you blame yourself. Why did I react like that? Why wasn't I calmer? Why am I still affected by such small things? But I want you to understand this: a reaction does not reveal your value, it reveals a wound. And I do not come to reprimand the reaction, I come to heal the wound. When the wound is healed, the reaction will change on its own. You do not need to force yourself to be strong to prove anything. You only need to let me reach the places your strength cannot. I also want to correct this in you. You have used the eyes of others to evaluate yourself for so long that when I speak what is true about you, it feels unfamiliar. When I call you beloved, you assume I am comforting you. When I call you precious, you think I am trying to ease your sadness. When I call you chosen, you assume it is mere encouragement. But I speak these things not symbolically, I speak them literally. I see your worth even when you cannot feel it. I see what I placed inside you even when you believe you have nothing special. I see the version of you on the other side of your wounds, the version you have forgotten you could become. There are labels you have placed on yourself that no one ever said out loud, simply because you became too familiar with the absence of love. When you say, "I'm useless," it is not because it is true, but because you have never heard enough love to recognize that it is false. When you say, "I'm not worthy," it is not because I ever said so, but because you were once treated as if your value was lower than it truly is. When you think, "I'm not good at anything," it is not because you lack ability, but because your gifts were once placed in environments that did not know how to nourish them. I come to correct the words you once spoke over yourself, because none of them came from me. Let me open your eyes to, this truth is not merely what is accurate, truth is what carries the power to heal. When you hear the truth I speak, your cells respond, your emotions loosen, and your soul rises. The truth that comes from me moves like a wind that pushes thick clouds away, allowing you to see the light that has long been hidden. I do not want you to live according to judgment, for judgment does not build, it crushes. I want you to live according to truth, because truth not only lifts you, it keeps you standing even when those around you cannot see your real worth. Now I restore to you something essential, the right to be defined correctly. You are not who people thought you were. You are not your old wounds. You are not the season in which you collapsed. You are not the nights you cried alone in a dark room. You are not the weary sigh you hid behind a smile. You are not the mistake you regretted 1,000 times. You are certainly not the failure that made you feel left behind. You are what I say you are, and I say you are a person of great worth. Someone darkness tried to cover because it feared that once you knew the truth, you would walk with a strength no one could shake. The restoration I bring is not about turning you into someone else. It is about returning you to yourself. You do not need to become a new version. You need only return to the true one. You do not need to improve yourself to win anyone's approval. You simply need to learn to see yourself through the light I placed within you. When I restore you, I reclaim every part that pain once stole. I return to you tenderness that cannot be exploited, kindness that cannot be wounded, sensitivity that cannot be distorted, and honesty that cannot be shamed. None of these beautiful things were ever lost. They only needed to be wiped clean from the dust of false labels. Now I want to open your eyes once more, yet this time it is so you may see that you have never been too little the way you once believed. You were only missing the right environment to grow. You were only missing people who could truly see into your depth. You were only missing my words, sown at the right moment, to cleanse the old voices that had worn your heart thin. You are like a seed blown by the wind into barren soil. People saw you fail to sprout and assumed you could not live. But when I place you in the right soil, the right light, the right water, you will grow so swiftly that even you will wonder why you ever doubted your own worth. This is the restoration I am doing. I am taking you from doubting yourself to knowing yourself, from carrying wrong labels to living in the name that heaven appointed. And when your eyes finally open to see your true worth, no one will be able to close them again, not circumstances, not words, not old memories, not any wound. Now I want to lay before you the final foundation so that you may stand firm and move forward as someone who has been restored to their true worth. I do not only want to remove wrong labels, I want to place in you a new name, a new way of seeing, a new position within your own mind and soul. A new foundation is not built by striving or proving anything, but by resting in truth. And the truth I place in you is not merely information for you to know, it is a ground for you to live from. I want you to cross the line between knowing your worth and living as one who truly carries worth. And you will only walk that line when you allow me to strengthen every single stone in the foundation beneath your feet. Let me say this with gentleness and clarity. True worth does not require applause to exist. It does not need recognition to become real. It does not depend on who understands you, who praises you, or who chooses to stay. Your true worth comes from within, from the place where I breathed life into you and brought you into being. No one has the power to add to or subtract from that worth. When someone fails to see what I placed in you, their blindness does not diminish your value, it only reveals the limits of their sight. You were not born to fit inside the shallow vision of the world. You were born to live by the inner light I prepared for you long before you arrived. And you must learn one more thing: true worth is never threatened by failure, by hurt, or by dark seasons. Failure may slow you down, but it cannot strip you of your essence. Hurt may silence you for a time, but it cannot erase you. Darkness may confuse you for a moment, but it cannot dim the imprint I placed within you. True worth is like precious metal, though buried in dirt, though covered in dust, though passing through fire, it remains exactly what it is. I want you to remember this, so that when life begins to shake, you do not shake with it. When people leave, your worth does not leave. When people misunderstand you, your worth does not change. When you feel tired, your worth does not weaken. You are you, and you are enough, even on the days you do not feel like it. Now I want to lift you with a truth that will endure. Your worth is not found in being chosen by people, but in being chosen by me. People may like or dislike you, keep you close or let you go, understand you or misunderstand you, but none of that can touch the original choice I made. I chose you because you are you, not because of what you do or fail to do. That choice does not shift with days or seasons or circumstances or anyone's emotions. It does not waver when you are weak. It does not fade when you struggle. It does not diminish when you fall short. It is a choice belonging to heaven, and heaven does not change its mind. I also want to strengthen something deeply important in you from this point on. You must learn to live as someone who carries true worth, not as someone begging for it. You do not beg anyone to stay. You do not beg anyone to understand you. You do not beg anyone to acknowledge you. You do not beg for what I have already placed within you from the beginning. You have every right to step out of relationships that cause you to doubt your worth. You have every right to walk away from spaces that make your soul shrink. You have every right to choose what nourishes your soul instead of what drains it. You have every right to live gently, not because you are careless, but because you no longer carry the weight of others as if it were a debt you must repay. I want you to know this so that you may be free. Your worth is not tied to the role you hold. Roles can change, but worth does not. You may be someone many people come to in one season, and then find yourself in quietness in another. You may be praised in one chapter and misunderstood in the next. But true worth is never attached to such fluctuations. You are not what you contribute. You are the one I love, and that love is so great that every wrong label falls off when it comes near. Now I want to raise your soul into a deeper place, a place where you no longer live from reaction, but from identity. When you know your true identity, you no longer live defensively, but you step forward. You no longer hide your wounds, but allow me to heal them. You no longer shrink out of fear, but open because you know you are protected. You no longer fear judgment, but live by truth. You will walk lighter, more naturally, more freely, because you are no longer haunted by the pressure to prove you are good enough. You will know that you are already enough in my eyes, and that is enough for your entire journey. Let me place my final words upon your heart like a hand resting gently over it. You are not the product of the wrong labels you carried. You are the result of the love I wove into your life. Every true value within you is still intact, untouched, unlost, merely covered for a time by words that did not come from me. And now, as my light shines upon you, those layers of dust are falling away one by one. You do not need to search for yourself. You only need to let me remove what has been covering you. When every veil is lifted, you will see yourself beautiful, deep, radiant, and whole, exactly as I created you to be, my child. Now that you have crossed the threshold into the truth of who you truly are, I want to lead you into a gentler, deeper, more permeating journey, one where everything I have ever spoken over you begins to sink into the very foundation of your soul. There are truths that come like light when first heard, but for that light to become warmth, you must allow it to remain with you a little longer, to seep into the hidden crevices you never knew you still carried. I'm not in a hurry, nor do I demand you to change in a day or two. I only want you to breathe steadily and let each strand of truth I speak become part of your inner structure. Like water slowly soaking into the soil after a soft rain. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to open. No opening is too small for me. For even the thinnest crack of light is enough for me to shine through and widen the whole room. Feel this slowly when I say you are not the false labels placed upon you. It means every word that ever covered you, contrary to truth, has no right to remain beyond its time. Those words may have frightened you, made you shrink, made you believe you were invisible, but they existed only where light was lacking. When the light of truth arrives, they lose their grip. I want you to picture yourself as a forest, gradually regaining its green after a long winter. New leaves do not appear all at once overnight, but sprout one by one, then multiply, until the entire forest returns to the life that has always belonged to it. You are the same. True life is growing back within you, not loudly, not hurriedly, but surely and deeply, and I rejoice at every new leaf unfolding on the landscape of your soul. Do not underestimate the small changes rising within you lately. When you suddenly find yourself less self-blaming, that is me. When a quiet warmth wells up in you even though no one has spoken a kind word, that is also me. When you realize an old sentence no longer controls you the way it once did, that is the sign of inner chains falling off by themselves. None of this is wishful thinking. This is real change taking place. I heal you not from the outside in, but from the core outward, from essence to response, from root to fruit. All renewal begins where human eyes cannot see. But I see it clearly, and I see you becoming brighter every day. I want you to understand something more. Your return to your true worth is not a journey of self-discovery, but a journey of reclaiming the identity I preserved for you from the beginning. People may use phrases like finding yourself, but the deeper truth is this: you never lost yourself. You were only temporarily covered by things that were never yours. I have kept your identity the way someone keeps a precious treasure tucked in a closed box so it cannot be dulled by sun or rain. And when the time comes that you are safe enough to receive it back, I open that box, place it in your hands, and say, "Here, this is who you are. Hold this gift gently, without tension or fear, because no one can take away what I place into your hands." There were seasons in your life when you believed yourself to be a collection of shortcomings, a gathering of unfinished pieces. You saw the things you did not do well, but I saw the things you dared to do even when afraid. You saw the times you fell, but I saw the times you rose when no one noticed. You saw awkwardness, I saw sincerity. You saw the moments you fell silent out of hurt, but I saw the sensitivity of a heart that feels more deeply than others imagine. If the world calls that weak, I call it soft, and only soft hearts have the depth to hold great measures of love. Remember this, I never look at your value through your wounds. I look at your wounds through your value. When I see a wound, I do not leave you, I heal you. When I see trembling, I am not harsh, I hold you. When I see lack, I do not scold, I supply. You are never defined by what has hurt you, but by the one who heals you. That alone sets you apart from how the world treats you. The world often looks at mistakes and names them as identity. I look at your soul and call that your identity. And your soul is always more beautiful than any flaw you have ever made. I want to reveal to you something further when I remove false labels from you. I am not merely cleansing the surface, I am changing the way you see life. You will begin to see others with more gentleness because you no longer carry the weight of inferiority. You will be less defensive because you know you have nothing to prove. You will be less wounded by people's words because they no longer latch onto fragile places within you. You will be more open-hearted because your heart is no longer bound by meaningless comparisons. When you see yourself rightly, you no longer need to fight to protect an image you once wore just to be accepted. You are free, and that freedom flows into the way you love, the way you speak, the way you choose, the way you live. I want you to look toward the future not with eyes trying to predict what will happen, but with eyes that know you will not walk into it alone. What lies ahead is not measured by fear, but by the truth I have placed inside you. As you step into that future, you will not carry with you the old voices saying, "You're not enough. You're unworthy. You're not capable. You don't deserve. You will walk with the posture of one who knows they are loved. And when a person knows they are loved, they no longer choose from a place of lack but from a place of fullness. When you choose from fullness, you attract what truly belongs to you, people who value you, opportunities that do not drain you, doors that open because you are aligned, not because you are striving. My child, you cannot go back to who you used to be, and that is a good thing. You are growing out of false labels, growing out of old voices, growing out of invisible limits. Like a bird learning to fly, once it has glided across the sky, it cannot return to living forever in a narrow cage. You no longer fit the cage that fear once built for you. Your wings are strengthening. Your eyes are sharpening. The rhythm within you is becoming freer. When I remove labels, I also cut cords. And once the cords are cut, you will no longer feel yourself being pulled backward into old places. I know you are still a little startled by the changes rising within you, because there are moments when you feel both light and unfamiliar, both known and new. Do not worry, this is a good sign. You are standing at the exact point of transition between a past that once pressed you down and a future I am lifting you into. It is like the moment between two musical notes, very quiet, very thin, yet the opening into an entirely new melody. Stay in this moment with me, unhurried, unafraid, without needing to guess the next step. I am already there ahead of you. There are quiet moments in life when, if you simply sit down for a little while, you will realize that the things I have planted within you are quietly beginning to sprout. Not every change arrives with a loud sound. Sometimes it comes like warmth seeping into a cold room, like a thin line of morning light slipping through the crack of a door. That gentle feeling is the signal that the truth I spoke over you has begun to take shape inside. Everything I remove from you is not only about taking labels off, it is clearing the way so you can stand before the mirror without being pulled backward by false definitions. I see that transformation long before you ever notice it. The way a gardener knows a seed is alive before the first leaf breaks through the soil. The restoration I am doing in you is not a one-time event. It is a flow. And this flow is so gentle that if you would simply allow it to be, it will do its work on its own. Every time your heart softens without any clear reason, That is the flow, loosening the places that once hardened. Every time you find yourself less defensive toward someone's words, that is the flow, washing away the memories that made you shrink. Every time your mind feels lighter even though your circumstances have not changed, that is the flow, freeing the invisible cords that once held you down. I do not need you to understand everything. I only need you to allow the flow to continue. I want you to sense this as well. The lightness rising inside you is not a temporary feeling, but a sign that truth is claiming its space within your inner being. When truth stays, fear naturally leaves. When truth speaks, false labels lose their grip. When truth becomes large enough, the noise of old memories fades until it is nothing more than a distant echo, unable to control you the way it once did. This is why I keep whispering. Let me tell you the truth again, because every time I speak it, the truth does not merely touch your ears, it moves into your bones, into your breath, into the hidden places of your soul. I know there were seasons when you tried to tell yourself, "I'm fine now," just so you could keep moving even though your heart had not truly settled. During those times, I stood right there, watching you try to carry the weight of days that were much too heavy for you. I do not blame you, for I understand why you had to do that when no one saw you clearly. You had to become your own support. But now, you no longer have to live that way. I have come to take the part you once carried alone to hold you, to steady you, and to remind you that you never have to prove anything in order to be loved. And as you begin to believe that, your heart will find more space to live, more room to breathe between the busy days, more gentle air between the heavy strands of old thoughts, more light in the corners you once feared to look at. This is how I heal, not loudly, not forcefully, not by ambushing you, but by laying peace layer upon layer over the places that once held anxiety. I know exactly which part of you needs my touch, and I never touch too hard, nor too soon. On the days when you feel yourself becoming different in a way you cannot explain, lighter, softer, calmer, that is the moment truth is blooming inside. Others may not see that process, but I see it clearly. The light within you is rising at its own steady rhythm, even though nothing outward has changed. I know you sometimes wonder, why doesn't this hurt me the way it used to? It is not because you have become numb. It is because I have removed the thorn that those false words once drove into your heart. The touch no longer causes pain because the thorn is no longer there. And there will come a time when you notice yourself responding with peace instead of reacting with fear. You will see yourself opening more gently to your own heart. You will find yourself no longer repeating negative phrases out of habit. You will set boundaries without feeling guilty. You will stop wanting to run every time you feel seen. These changes do not mean you have become stronger. They mean you have become more healed. And true healing is when the soul no longer trembles at the things that once wounded it. I want you to understand this clearly when I give you back the truth about your worth. I am not only redefining who you are, I am redefining how you live. You will choose from a place of fullness rather than lack. You will love from a place of being held rather than being hungry. You will give without feeling drained. You will live without shrinking yourself to fit anyone's expectations. You will know that your presence carries value even when you do nothing at all. And in this knowing, you will no longer ask, "Am I enough?" but instead begin to say, "I know I belong to the light." I also want you to feel something deeper. The false labels that once hurt you have not only been removed, they have lost their right to return. Once truth is carved into your inner being, it becomes an invisible yet unshakable wall that keeps lies from attaching themselves to your soul. When someone speaks something untrue about you, their words will fall to the ground instead of clinging to your mind. When someone judges you unfairly, their judgment will pass through without finding a place to settle. When someone is unkind, your heart will remain steady because you no longer use their voice as the measure of your identity. The truth I have placed in you will protect you from the invisible arrows that once pierced you so easily. And from here, you will begin to see something truly beautiful. You are starting to belong to yourself, not in a selfish way, but in the sense that you are no longer lost in the way others see you. You stand firm in the light I have placed within you. You live lightly beneath the peace I have covered you with. You walk as one who knows the foundation beneath your feet is rock, not sand. The false labels that once pulled you downward now become evidence of how strong you are when my hand takes hold of you and lifts you up. To take you further, I will continue opening your heart a little more, so you may see that the freedom you now have is not merely the absence of pain, it is the ability to see yourself with newly cleansed eyes. Through those eyes, you see that you are worthy not because you perform well, but because you are loved. You see that you are enough not because you strive, but because your very nature is already enough. You see that life is no longer as dark as it once was, not because you are luckier, but because you are now seeing through a soul that has been healed. And when the soul is healed, everything becomes brighter, truer, and lighter. And then, as you stand at this point of your journey, I want you to notice something quiet yet deeply important. You no longer have to fear returning to your old days. Not because those memories have disappeared, but because they no longer have the authority to pull you back. The things that once made your heart tighten are now simply stories that have passed. You can look at them without feeling drowned by them. The truth I have placed within you has become a warm cloak, wrapping around you even when the cold winds of memory blow past. You do not have to run from your past, you only need to walk with the light of the present, and that light will slowly move your past behind you. I want you to keep one last truth in your heart. The freedom you are stepping into is not the end of healing, but the beginning of a new life. No more false labels clinging to you. No more old voices interrupting you. No more definitions that do not belong to you. You are entering a life where truth is the breath you live on. Peace is the ground beneath your feet, and my love is the atmosphere surrounding you. You will see yourself becoming different not because you are trying to change, but because you are living as the person you were meant to be from the beginning. And I am here, with every beat, every breath, every step you take. There is no distance you must walk alone now. There is no night you must endure by your own strength. There is no question you must wrestle with on your own. I do not leave you for even half a step on this journey of rediscovering yourself. Whenever you forget the truth, I will remind you. Whenever your heart weakens, I will lift you. Whenever your vision dims, I will kindle the light again. You no longer live under labels, you live under light. And under this light, you are beautiful exactly as I intended from the very beginning of your life. May the Lord continually remind you to live each day in His faith and His love. Please follow and turn on notifications so you will not miss the sacred and meaningful messages He desires to speak to you. May God bless you. Amen.